Listen closely, for what I am about to reveal is not casual advice, nor is it the transient counsel of a motivational speaker with fleeting applause to chase. This is the distilled truth, gathered from the observation of thousands of the world's most successful men and women. It is the framework by which the mind may ascend from ordinary reaction to extraordinary creation, the path by which you seize mastery over the one realm that determines all human achievement, your inner world. If you allow emotions to govern your actions, you forfeit your power. But if you command your thoughts, you command your future. Understand this from the outset. The world is not in debt to your effort, your hope, or your complaint. The universe does not recognize excuses. It recognizes only cause and effect. Every individual who has accumulated wealth, influence, or enduring accomplishment has done so not because of chance, not because of luck, but because of relentless mastery over the forces within themselves. And so it is that the first principle you must embrace is definiteness of purpose. Without a clearly defined aim, the mind drifts like a rudderless ship upon the waves of circumstance. It is purpose alone that channels your energy, that transforms scattered thought into concentrated action, and transforms hope into reality. Ask yourself now with brutal honesty, do you have a goal so vivid, so precise, that it excites every neuron in your brain? If not, it is time to create one. Yet a goal, no matter how well defined, will remain a phantom if you lack emotional detachment. Observe the human condition carefully. Most people are slaves to approval, to fear, to the mercurial whims of others. Their hearts leap in joy at praise, and their minds convulse in despair at criticism. This is weakness masquerading as sensitivity. You, however, must learn to observe without reaction. You must cultivate a mind that, when insulted, does not ignite, when threatened, does not panic, when confronted with loss, does not crumble. Emotional detachment is not indifference, it is sovereignty. It is the realization that no external circumstance possesses the power to dictate your inner state unless you allow it. The world will tempt you, it will whisper, react, lash out, seek comfort, abandon discipline, and many will obey, squandering opportunity and forfeiting potential. Do not. Instead, exercise self-discipline, for it is the engine of all achievement. The disciplined mind is a fortress. Every habit of restraint, every choice to act according to principle rather than impulse, strengthens its walls. Do not underestimate the power of small, consistent acts of control. The daily exercise of mental and emotional discipline compounds into monumental capability. Here lies another truth you must engrave into your mind. Thought precedes action, and action precedes result. The mind is a workshop, and every idea that you entertain with intensity and clarity lays the foundation for either success or failure. If you think scarcity, fear, or limitation, your results will reflect these inner convictions. If you think abundance, opportunity, and mastery, your reality will bend to reflect these truths. Napoleon Hill often said, "What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But belief is not a passive state. It is forged in the fire of repeated, disciplined, emotionally detached practice. Now consider the law of mental neutrality. The mind, when untrained, is a battlefield of impulses, biases, and external influence. Observe it. Every advertisement, every casual comment, every rumor seeks to provoke reaction. Without control, you are tossed like a leaf in a storm. But the man who masters mental neutrality, who can observe, assess, and then act deliberately, has found the most powerful weapon known to man, the ability to decide his response. Response is not reaction. Response is the conscious act of applying thought to circumstance before the hand of fate strikes. This is where true power begins. The next principle is accurate thinking. Wealth, influence, and opportunity are rarely served to those who act on impulse or hearsay. They are reserved for those who analyze, reason, and decide with precision. Separate fact from opinion. Evaluate cause and effect with ruthless clarity. Question assumptions. Identify the unseen forces that drive people, markets, and events. The mind trained in accuracy transforms information into action, confusion into strategy, and observation into dominion. To accelerate your mastery, adopt the principle of autosuggestion. The words you speak, the images you feed your mind, The declarations you repeat daily shape your subconscious, which in turn shapes your destiny. Speak to yourself with authority, with clarity, with unwavering faith in the man or woman you are becoming. Tell your mind, I am disciplined, I am detached, I am decisive, I am worthy of opportunity, I will think in terms of wealth and abundance. Do not allow doubt to whisper in the chambers of your consciousness. Instead, replace it with intentional, repeated declarations of the life you are engineering. Understand also the principle of taking personal initiative. Wealth, success, and opportunity never bow to hesitation. Every fortune ever amassed required someone to act first, to venture, to risk, to do what others delayed. Initiative is the bridge between idea and reality. You cannot wait for permission from circumstance, from society, or from peers. You must create it through deliberate action, guided by principle and vision. Every delay, every second of inaction, compounds into lost momentum. And above all, master the habit of calmness under pressure. The greatest fortunes are forged not in comfort, but in crisis. When markets tumble, relationships strain, or fortune's tide ebbs, the disciplined mind observes without panic, decides without haste, and acts without emotion. Calmness is not weakness. It is concentrated power. It is the hallmark of those who succeed where others falter, of those whose decisions ripple through events rather than being buffeted by them. Finally, embrace the understanding that wealth is not merely monetary, but a reflection of value creation and inner alignment. Money is a signal of the contribution you provide to the world. When your mind, disciplined and detached, focuses relentlessly on the creation of value, wealth inevitably follows. Think like money is chasing you, not in desperation, not in craving, but in deliberate confidence, in measured and precise expectation. This mindset aligns your thought, your action, and your results with the law of abundance. Now, let us examine the greatest barrier that stands between the ordinary and the extraordinary, the tyranny of unmastered emotion. Most men and women allow fleeting feelings, anger, fear, envy, impatience to dictate their choices, and yet they wonder why opportunity slips past them like sand through fingers. Make no mistake, the mind that reacts before it reasons is a mind enslaved. The moment you feel provoked, anxious, or uncertain, remind yourself, no external circumstance holds the power to determine my inner state. I choose calm. I choose focus. I choose mastery. Imagine a man of ambition, poised on the brink of a life-altering opportunity. He encounters betrayal, criticism, or an unexpected obstacle. The untrained mind explodes into chaos, rash words, hasty decisions, ill-considered compromise. But the disciplined mind, tempered by practice and detachment, observes, measures, and acts with deliberate intent. One decision, made with clarity, can turn crisis into triumph, opposition into advantage. It is this capacity to maintain inner neutrality amidst external turbulence that distinguishes the few who achieve extraordinary wealth from the many who falter in mediocrity. To develop this capacity, practice what I call the principle of deliberate pause. When confronted with provocation, resistance, or pressure, do not answer immediately. Step back mentally. Breathe. Separate thought from emotion. Ask yourself, what is the most effective response? What aligns with my long-term objective? The delay is not weakness, it is the exercise of foresight, the declaration that you, not circumstance, command your actions. In these moments of calm, the mind finds solutions invisible to the impulsive, clarity invisible to the frenzied. Consider also the discipline of mental inventory. Each day, review your thoughts, your responses, and your actions. Identify where you allowed emotion to override judgment, where doubt obstructed initiative, where distraction diluted your focus. This is not self-punishment, it is self-correction. The mind, like a garden, thrives on attention, pruning, and cultivation. Neglect it, and weeds of fear, envy, and indecision choke growth. Tend it daily, and it produces abundance, resilience, and decisive power. Next, turn your attention to the law of purposeful concentration. Focus is the currency of achievement. Wealth, influence, and personal power do not accumulate in scattered attention. They accumulate in relentless, focused application of mental energy toward a single, well-defined objective. Every distraction, every divided effort erodes momentum and delays results. Think of a magnifying glass held over dry leaves in the midday sun. Dispersed rays will merely warm the air, but concentrated light ignites fire. So it is with thought directed with unwavering focus, it generates the heat necessary to manifest success. In alignment with this, embrace the principle of emotional insulation. Do not allow the approval or disapproval of others to infiltrate your consciousness. Praise is fleeting and criticism is often misinformed. Both can mislead the untrained mind. Develop the habit of evaluating feedback with precision. Extract what is useful, discard the rest. Let your sense of self, your conviction, and your purpose be guided by principle and observation, not by the ephemeral judgments of the crowd. Now, consider the role of adversity as a teacher. No individual has ever risen to extraordinary wealth or influence without encountering setbacks. Those who fail are those who interpret adversity as punishment, as personal inadequacy, as reason to despair. Those who succeed are those who view challenge as information, as feedback, as opportunity. Each obstacle reveals a weakness to be corrected, a strategy to be refined, a character trait to be strengthened. By detaching from personal offense, by examining hardship without emotional interference, the mind converts apparent loss into tangible gain. Do not underestimate the power of decision. Indecision is a slow poison to achievement. Opportunity favors the resolute. Delay, hesitation, and vacillation allow circumstance to dictate terms, while decisive action seizes the reins of destiny. Make your decisions with clarity, discipline, and detachment. Once made, align thought, emotion, and action behind that decision, and pursue it relentlessly. Adjust if necessary, but never let doubt and indecision paralyze your forward motion. As you cultivate this mastery, recognize the influence of environment, the people you associate with, the ideas you consume, the energy you allow into your mind. All of these shape your inner world. Seek companions who reinforce your values, who challenge you to grow without imposing chaos, who reflect integrity and vision. Guard against mental pollution. The mind, like the body, is sensitive to toxins. Protect it vigilantly. Curate the information, discourse, and exposure that shape your thoughts. The disciplined mind is selective in what it permits to enter consciousness. At the heart of this pursuit lies the law of sustained initiative. Nothing of value is achieved by sporadic effort. Every act of creation, every accumulation of wealth, every exercise of personal power demands sustained, intelligent effort. Daily practice of discipline, focus, and emotional control compounds. Each day, you become marginally more capable, more resilient, more precise. In time, these incremental gains compound exponentially, producing outcomes far beyond the comprehension of those who rely on sporadic bursts of energy or emotion-fueled reaction. And finally, recognize the ultimate truth of wealth consciousness. Money is neither the source nor the goal. It is a reflection of value creation. The individual who thinks like money is being drawn to them acts with purpose, detachment, and disciplined execution. They anticipate opportunity, they prepare for it, they act decisively when it arrives. Their mind is a magnet, attracting wealth because it has aligned thought, emotion, and action with the laws of abundance. Wealth is the byproduct of the disciplined mind, not a goal pursued recklessly or emotionally. You now stand at the threshold. You have glimpsed the principles that govern mental mastery, emotional detachment, and unstoppable success. To those who act, fortune bows. To those who hesitate, life drifts by. Your mind, disciplined and deliberate, your emotions, controlled and detached, your purpose, vivid and unwavering, these are your weapons. Wield them with courage, wield them with conviction, wield them with relentless discipline. For the moment you do, the world begins to yield to your vision. Begin by establishing your morning mental regimen. The mind, untrained at the start of the day, is a battlefield. Left to default impulses, it succumbs to worry, fear, and external influence. Upon waking, do not allow your thoughts to wander into trivialities, complaints, or imagined crises. Instead, direct your consciousness deliberately. Begin with affirmation of purpose. I am master of my thoughts. I act only with clarity and intent. My objectives are vivid. My will is unshakable. Repeat this with conviction until the words resonate not as repetition, but as inner truth. This is not mere platitude. This is auto-suggestion in action, the engine that trains your subconscious to align with your conscious purpose. Next, practice emotional calibration. Before engaging with the world, assess your internal state. Are your feelings anchored in gratitude, confidence, and curiosity, or are they swayed by fear, envy, or past grievances? Learn to neutralize negative emotions through deliberate focus. If anger arises, ask, is this thought serving my objective, or is it consuming my power? Replace unproductive impulses with constructive visualization. See yourself responding with precision, patience, and efficacy in every scenario that awaits you. The disciplined mind reframes every encounter as an opportunity to assert control, to convert chaos into order. Now, embrace strategic mental rehearsal. Throughout the day, periodically close your eyes and envision the situations you anticipate encountering: meetings, negotiations, challenges, interruptions, and imagine yourself responding with perfect poise. Your tone measured, your decision deliberate, your reaction devoid of impulsive emotion. Repetition is the bridge between intention and automatic execution. The subconscious learns not through theory, but through repeated, vivid rehearsal. In time, response replaces reaction, and mastery becomes instinct. Consider also the law of information filtration. In the modern world, your mind is assaulted constantly with noise, opinions, headlines, trivialities. Do not permit your consciousness to be occupied by matters irrelevant to your purpose. Allocate attention deliberately. Consume ideas that expand your capacity for judgment, reasoning, and insight. Discard distractions, especially those that provoke emotion without action. The disciplined mind is selective, allowing only that which serves your elevation. Embrace the principle of progressive challenge. Growth occurs at the edge of comfort, where the mind and emotion are tested. Seek situations that require poise under pressure, where clarity and calmness must prevail over impulse. These are your laboratories of power. Each successfully navigated challenge strengthens neural pathways of restraint, foresight, and strategic response. With each challenge, emotional detachment becomes not a concept, but a practiced skill, a natural reflex that protects and propels your purpose. Next, internalize the doctrine of delayed gratification. Wealth, influence, and mastery are never won through indulgence of impulse. Every act of patience, every instance of resisting the immediate lure of pleasure for the sake of long-term gain, compounds into advantage. The untrained mind seeks comfort, succumbs to distraction, and reacts with immediacy. The disciplined mind understands that restraint is not deprivation, it is investment. Every choice to prioritize purpose over pleasure multiplies your power exponentially. Apply also the discipline of reflection at day's end. Before retiring, conduct an honest audit of your actions, thoughts, and reactions. Ask, where did I act with clarity? Where did emotion interfere? Where did I waste time on distraction? And where did I advance my purpose? Let this reflection be precise, unemotional, and thorough. Document lessons, integrate insights, and plan the next day with deliberate intention. In this manner, every 24-hour cycle strengthens mastery over mind and emotion, compounding into the extraordinary. Let us now examine the role of thought alignment with opportunity. Opportunity does not favor the undisciplined, the scattered, or the emotionally reactive. It flows toward the mind that is clear, decisive, and prepared. By controlling your inner state, by aligning emotion, focus, and imagination with your objectives, you become a magnet for chance, insight, and wealth. A man prepared mentally, emotionally, and strategically appears at the right place at the right time, ready to act with power. This is not luck, it is disciplined manifestation. Finally, consider the ultimate exercise in detachment, cultivating absolute sovereignty over your inner world. Understand this truth. No person, no circumstance, no failure, no success has the power to determine your inner equilibrium unless you allow it. You are the gatekeeper of your consciousness. By exercising daily mastery over thought, emotion, and focus, you declare independence from chaos, indecision, and the influence of others. You forge an unbreakable foundation upon which all wealth, power, and achievement can be built. At this juncture, we approach the apex of practice, combining mental neutrality, decisive action, and unwavering purpose into a singular, unstoppable force. Your mind, disciplined through reflection, rehearsal, emotional calibration, and selective focus, now functions as a precision instrument. Every action is calculated, every decision measured, every reaction proportionate. In this state, wealth, opportunity, and influence are drawn to you with the inevitability of law, because your inner world resonates perfectly with the principles that govern external success. If you command your mind, you command your world. If you command your thoughts, you command your destiny. If you master emotional detachment, you master every circumstance that life presents. And when these elements are unified with clarity of purpose, sustained focus, and disciplined action, the result is unstoppable success. Begin by internalizing the concept I call mental sovereignty. Mental sovereignty is the unassailable command you hold over your consciousness. It is the recognition that no external circumstance, no opinion, no provocation has the authority to unsettle your inner equilibrium unless you voluntarily surrender it. Every individual who achieves lasting success understands that control over mind precedes control over circumstance. They do not react, they respond. They do not yield to fleeting emotion. They act from enduring principle. To cultivate this sovereignty, you must practice the law of purposeful thought. Your mind is the soil in which either failure or triumph takes root. Thoughts of fear, envy, or resentment act as poison, stunting growth and attracting misfortune. Thoughts of clarity, courage, and purpose act as fertilizer, enriching your life with opportunity and abundance. Therefore, make it a daily ritual to audit your thinking. Examine every mental impression and ask, does this thought serve my purpose, or does it undermine it? Eliminate all mental clutter, for clarity is the precursor to decisive action. Next, embrace the principle of preemptive emotional control. Do not wait for circumstance to provoke you. Anticipate the challenges of the day, the irritations, the frustrations, the conflicts. Visualize them in advance and practice your responses with calm precision. In these mental rehearsals, you condition your mind to remain unshaken in the face of provocation. This is the distinction between those who are swept by life's currents and those who navigate them with unwavering skill. Understand also the power of concentrated autosuggestion. Speak to your subconscious with deliberate intent, employing affirmations that are vivid, precise, and emotionally charged. I am master of my mind. I respond with clarity. I act decisively. I attract wealth, influence, and opportunity. Repeat these statements until they are no longer mere words but a living current within your consciousness. The subconscious mind accepts suggestion without question. It does not distinguish between fantasy and fact. By planting seeds of mastery and abundance, you cultivate a fertile landscape for achievement. At this stage, implement the method of deliberate detachment. Detachment is not indifference. It is elevated engagement. It is the ability to act fully, to commit with intensity, without being enslaved by fear, desire, or expectation. Observe events, opinions, and outcomes with measured perspective. Do not allow temporary failure to diminish your resolve, nor fleeting success to corrupt your judgment. Detached focus preserves energy, amplifies clarity, and enables action unclouded by bias or impulse. Consider the principle of incremental mastery. Success is the sum of countless small victories, victories over procrastination, distraction, and emotional volatility. Each time you resist the impulse to react destructively, each time you replace negative thought with constructive strategy, you accrue power. This is compounding applied to the mind itself. Just as interest accumulates over time, so too does disciplined thought compound, producing exponential returns in productivity, wealth, and influence. Further, recognize the law of situational neutrality. External events are not inherently beneficial or harmful. Their value is determined by your response. By maintaining emotional neutrality, you extract utility from every situation. An insult becomes data, a failure becomes a lesson, a challenge becomes opportunity. The emotionally disciplined mind transforms adversity into leverage. Herein lies the secret of those who rise above circumstance and bend reality to their will. Mastery over the inner world dictates the outcome of the outer world. Now, advance into the principle of relentless clarity of purpose. Purpose is the lodestar guiding every thought, every decision, and every action. Without purpose, mental discipline becomes aimless, autosuggestion becomes hollow, and detachment becomes passivity. Define your purpose in vivid detail. The wealth you desire, the influence you wish to wield, the legacy you intend to leave. Inscribe it upon your consciousness and let it shape every mental rehearsal, every emotional calibration, every act of focused action. Combine these elements with the practice of strategic foresight. Those who master their inner world see beyond the immediate perceiving consequences before they unfold. They anticipate resistance, prepare solutions, and act preemptively. This foresight is not mere calculation. It is the product of disciplined observation, reflective analysis, and mental rehearsal. By seeing the future more clearly than others, you gain leverage that others cannot perceive until it is too late. Finally, commit to daily cultivation of unwavering focus. In every hour, in every minute, direct your consciousness deliberately. Every action should serve your purpose, every thought reinforce your vision, every emotion align with your strategy. Distractions are the thieves of achievement. Focus is the currency of mastery. Guard it jealously, exercise it relentlessly, and your results will reflect the power of concentrated intent. From these practices emerges the ultimate realization. The mind is the factory of destiny, and emotional mastery is the machinery of creation. By mastering your inner world, you convert potential into performance, thought into action, and vision into reality. Wealth, influence, and success are no longer elusive. They are inevitable reflections of the disciplined, detached, and purposeful mind. At this final stage, remember this truth. The external world is reactive. It mirrors the inner state. If your mind is chaotic, confused, or emotionally turbulent, so too will be your circumstances. If your mind is disciplined, neutral, and aligned with purpose, circumstances bend in your favor, opportunity becomes visible, and wealth flows toward you as naturally as rivers to the sea. In conclusion, think like money is chasing you. Visualize, rehearse, and act as if success is inevitable. Command your thoughts, calibrate your emotions, and execute with relentless discipline. The moment you internalize these principles, you cease to be a passive participant in life. You become a sovereign architect of your destiny, a master of circumstances, and an unstoppable force in the pursuit of wealth, achievement, and legacy. Begin each day with the ritual of mental alignment. Before your body rises, let your consciousness awaken. In the quiet of the morning, free from external noise, sit in deliberate stillness. Close your eyes and declare your purpose aloud in precise, commanding language. Today, I master my mind. Today, I act with clarity, focus, and determination. I respond to circumstance with wisdom. I am undisturbed by opinion, unaffected by provocation, and propelled only by my own vision of success. Repeat this until the words are no longer external, they become internal, a current running through your nerves, a rhythm beneath your heartbeat. Next, visualize every obstacle you may encounter. Picture colleagues, competitors, circumstances, even failure itself. Imagine how these forces might tempt you to react emotionally. Then, in your mind, practice neutral mastery. Smile at insult. Extract insight from failure. Convert frustration into strategy. This is not fantasy, it is rehearsal. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish rehearsal from reality. It prepares your character to act with poise, even under the heaviest pressure. Now, implement the principle of the invisible boundary. In your interactions, maintain a psychological perimeter around your emotions. Let criticism, flattery, or conflict bounce off this boundary like raindrops on polished stone. By refusing to internalize what is not yours to control, you preserve your energy, your clarity, and your capacity to act decisively. You will discover that the fewer emotional concessions you make to others, the more influence you wield over the situations that truly matter. Consider also the method of deliberate disengagement. There will be events, people, and urgencies that seek to pull your focus into unproductive turmoil. Learn to disengage without guilt or hesitation. Ask yourself, will my engagement advance my purpose or will it dilute my energy? Let detachment be your instrument, not indifference. Through this method, you conserve mental and emotional resources, and you invest them where they yield exponential returns. Throughout your day, observe the principle of thought precedence. Every action arises from thought. To act decisively, cultivate thoughts that are disciplined, clear, and directed. Do not permit idle musings or emotional impulses to initiate behavior. Think first, then act with deliberate precision. Remember, the mind ungoverned produces wasted effort. The mind governed produces unstoppable momentum. As your discipline grows, integrate the law of emotional conversion. Emotions are neither inherently positive nor negative, they are instruments. Convert anxiety into vigilance, impatience into urgency, anger into strategic assertiveness, and fear into disciplined preparation. By mastering this conversion, you harness a limitless source of energy and focus. You transform the raw material of human feeling into the refined machinery of achievement. In moments of decision, employ the framework of reflective calculation. Do not rush, yet do not delay. Consider alternatives, anticipate consequences, and measure outcomes in accordance with your purpose. Once your choice is deliberate, execute it fully and without hesitation. Indecision is the enemy of accomplishment. Deliberation followed by action is the hallmark of mastery. Throughout this process, reinforce your mind daily with autosuggestion of sovereignty and abundance. Speak in the present tense as though your ideals already exist. I command my thoughts. I am composed under pressure. I act with clarity and resolve. Opportunity flows to me. Wealth, influence, and success are drawn toward my purpose. I am unstoppable. Let these affirmations circulate until they saturate your thinking, until the language of mastery becomes the lens through which you perceive reality. At the end of each day, practice the reflection of accomplishment and learning. Review your decisions, actions, and emotional responses. Identify where detachment was maintained and where lapses occurred. Learn from both success and error, and commit to improvement without self-recrimination. This reflective habit converts every day into a laboratory of mastery, accelerating growth and embedding resilience into your character. Through these rituals, rehearsals, and disciplined practices, you gradually construct what I call the fortress of inner power. Within this fortress, no distraction penetrates, no provocation unsettles, and no fear dominates. From this place of mental sovereignty, you command the world rather than being commanded by it. Wealth is attracted, influence is asserted, and destiny is shaped according to the design of your will. Success is no longer accidental. Opportunity is no longer elusive. Every decision, every action, every thought aligns with the singular aim of achievement. You have moved beyond reaction into deliberate creation. You have transformed the mind from a passive observer into an active architect of reality. Remember this final truth. Every master of success began as a master of self. Before wealth, influence, or recognition could manifest, they conquered the internal battlefield of thought, emotion, and focus. You are now equipped with the same arsenal. Detach, discipline, direct. Command your inner world, and the outer world will bend to your will. With this, the full structure of mental mastery, emotional sovereignty, and disciplined action stands revealed. The principles are clear, the practices are defined, and the path forward is open. All that remains is your commitment, your unwavering dedication to implement, rehearse, and embody these truths in every moment. Now, let us turn our full attention to the first and most critical foundation of all enduring success, definiteness of purpose. There is no force in the universe more potent than a mind that knows exactly what it desires and refuses to be distracted by the trivialities of life. Many men and women drift aimlessly, allowing the winds of circumstance and the tempests of emotion to dictate their every move. But you, the one who listens now, must understand, without a definite aim, no man can hope to achieve mastery over himself, let alone command the world around him. Clarity of purpose is not a wish. It is a command to the mind to align every thought, every action, and every emotion with the attainment of a singular overriding objective. Do not be deceived by the trivial comfort of indecision. To allow the mind to wander without guidance is to surrender your destiny to the whims of fate. The undisciplined mind is a battlefield upon which your own fears, doubts, and desires clash endlessly. But when you master the art of focus, when you detach from the trivial distractions that occupy so many minds, you create a mental environment where power, creativity, and opportunity can flourish. You begin to move with a precision that is both terrifying and beautiful to those who do not understand it, for they mistake your calm for passivity, when in reality, it is the quiet, relentless march of purpose guiding every step. Understand this truth. Emotional detachment is not coldness, but clarity. It is the conscious choice to observe the currents of life without being pulled under by them. Those who react to every slight, every insult, every momentary setback are like leaves caught in a storm, tossed helplessly, their energy dissipated in useless struggle. You, however, will learn to stand firm, unshaken, observing the storm with the serene certainty of one who knows the outcome has already been determined by their own disciplined mind. To achieve such mastery, one must cultivate the principle of accurate thinking. This requires the deliberate rejection of assumptions, impulses, and gossip. It demands that every decision, every judgment be weighed with the cold, unwavering logic of cause and effect. Let emotion inform but never dictate. Allow insight, not impulse, to guide your actions. Remember this, if you allow your emotions to govern your actions, you forfeit your power. But if you command your thoughts, you command your future. Every great achievement in history is the product of minds that refuse to be ruled by circumstance. The inventors, the leaders, the visionaries, they did not allow themselves to be swept into reactive chaos. They chose calmness, deliberation, and above all, detachment. Their minds were disciplined instruments, tuned to the frequency of success, impervious to the dissonance of fear and doubt. You must strive for the same. Begin today by observing the ways in which your own mind reacts. Note where impatience, anger, or desire intrudes upon rational thought. These are the places where your power leaks away. Guard them with vigilance and replace every reaction with a conscious response, every outburst with measured action, every temptation with deliberate focus. Consider the principle of autosuggestion, the sacred tool by which the mind is shaped. Thoughts, once repeated and felt with conviction, become forces of creation. Speak to your mind with clarity and authority. Fill it with affirmations that reinforce your discipline, your purpose, and your serenity. The words you choose are not idle. They are commands to your subconscious, the wellspring from which all action flows. To neglect this practice is to leave your inner world open to invasion by the trivialities of fear, doubt, and indecision. To embrace it is to forge the sword with which you cut through every obstacle. And let us speak now of self-discipline, for without it no other principle can sustain. Emotional detachment, mental clarity, and autosuggestion are useless if they are not accompanied by the rigor of disciplined action. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. It is the daily exercise of your will to align behavior with purpose. You will be tempted to surrender, to rationalize, to defer. The weak will allow emotion to justify inaction. The strong will rise again and again until consistency becomes habit and habit becomes power. The path you are on is not easy. It is not meant to be. Every challenge, every insult, every delay is a test of your resolve. If it were easy, everyone would master themselves. If it were simple, every mind would be free. But it is neither easy nor simple, and therein lies the secret. The greater the resistance, the greater the reward. The more you learn to detach, to observe, and to act with clarity, the more you insulate yourself from the chaos that ensnares the untrained. You become a fortress, impregnable not by walls of stone, but by the indomitable discipline of your own mind. Now, recognize the subtle yet all-powerful law of mental neutrality. This law dictates that you must neither overreact to praise nor succumb to the sting of criticism. The world will constantly offer both, in excess and in deceit. Let neither inflame nor diminish you. Let both pass through the chambers of your mind like wind through an open window, noticed, acknowledged, but never internalized. In doing so, you preserve your energy, your clarity, and your focus for what truly matters, the relentless pursuit of your objective. And so, we arrive at the ultimate synthesis of these principles, the principle of thought first. Every action, every decision, every result flows from the mind. You cannot master your outer world without first mastering the inner. To control your circumstances, you must first control your responses. To command others, you must first command yourself. To achieve, you must first think deliberately, with purpose and with detachment from all that does not serve your aim. This is your charge. Begin now to observe, to train, to command your mind as a general commands an army. Let your thoughts be marshaled, your emotions restrained, and your will unwavering. Speak to your subconscious daily, instilling discipline, focus, and serenity. Measure every reaction, temper every impulse, and align every action with your ultimate objective. You are the master of your inner kingdom, and the outer world bends only to the degree that you govern the inner. Consider now the manner in which fear and desire manipulate the untrained mind. Observe how men and women surrender themselves to these invisible chains, allowing transient emotions to dictate decisions that shape destinies. Fear of failure immobilizes the ambitious. Desire for comfort seduces the resolute into mediocrity. But you, who listens with intent, must learn to rise above these forces. You must detach not from ambition, but from the need for instant gratification. You must face fear, not by fleeing, but by examining its nature and neutralizing its power. Every moment you allow fear to dominate your thinking, you are lending your authority to an unseen enemy. But every moment you respond with calm, deliberate thought, you reclaim sovereignty over your life. This is the essence of mental discipline. It is not a superficial practice nor a temporary measure. It is the daily, unrelenting cultivation of self-command. Picture your mind as a garden. Without care, weeds of doubt, anger, and distraction grow unchecked, suffocating the seeds of greatness you have planted. But when you apply the tools of discipline, detachment, and focus, these weeds are removed, and your potential blossoms into an unstoppable force. You must tend this garden with vigilance, for the world offers no respite to those who neglect their inner soil. Let us speak plainly. Emotional detachment does not mean indifference to life, it means mastery of life. Observe the successful leader, the great inventor, the visionary entrepreneur. They do not permit temporary emotions to dictate the course of action. They feel, they assess, but they do not react impulsively. Their calm is not weakness, it is strategic power. The same principle applies to your own mind. You must cultivate this calm, not as an abstract idea, but as a practical tool of influence and effectiveness. It is the shield that preserves your energy and the sword that strikes with precision. Now, let us explore the role of personal initiative, the action that bridges thought and reality. Ideas, no matter how brilliant, remain inert without deliberate action. Initiative is the conscious decision to move first, to act where others hesitate, to create momentum in the direction of your purpose. But here, emotional mastery and initiative intersect. A mind dominated by impulsive emotion takes reckless action, often producing chaos and failure. A disciplined mind, however, channels initiative into productive, calculated, and powerful movement. You must learn to act decisively, yet with the tempered wisdom that only detachment and clarity provide. Reflect upon the stories of those who have risen to prominence against all odds. Thomas Edison, who faced 1,000 failures before illuminating the world with his invention, did not allow frustration or despair to dominate his mind. Abraham Lincoln, in the midst of national crisis, held his composure, measured his responses, and acted with strategic precision, transforming a divided nation. Every such example reveals the inescapable truth. Those who master themselves command the circumstances that enslave others. And so, we arrive at another critical truth. Your mind is the ultimate battlefield. External forces, criticism, misfortune, societal pressures are formidable, but they are merely the background. The true war is waged within, where every thought competes for dominance. Here is where your detachment, your discipline, your command over emotion determines the outcome of your life. The man who reacts, who allows impulses to dictate action becomes a prisoner of circumstance. The man who observes, who controls, who acts with purpose becomes a master of reality itself. You must cultivate the habit of deliberate reflection. Each day, review your actions, your reactions, your decisions. Examine where emotion led you astray. Recognize the moments when fear, pride, or impatience attempted to seize control. Celebrate your victories, but dissect your failures. This is not indulgence in self-criticism. It is the forging of a sharper mind, a mind capable of operating with clarity under pressure. Remember, discipline is not punishment. It is the path to freedom. Let us now consider the power of calmness under pressure, for it is in adversity that true mastery is revealed. When the storm rages, the undisciplined mind panics, reacts, and dissipates energy in futile struggle. The disciplined mind observes, calculates, and directs energy with precision. You must train yourself to maintain calm in all circumstances. Begin with small trials, controlling minor frustrations and impulses. Progressively, the mind will internalize calmness as a reflex, allowing you to navigate greater challenges with unshakable composure. This is the silent, formidable strength of the mentally disciplined individual. And finally, integrate all of these principles into the daily architecture of your life. Begin each morning with deliberate thought. Clarify your purpose, set your intentions, and program your subconscious with affirmations of discipline, clarity, and detachment. Monitor your reactions throughout the day, adjusting and correcting with conscious effort. In the evening, reflect upon your achievements and missteps. Through repetition, through persistence, through unwavering commitment to these practices, you will transform the raw material of your mind into a tool of unimaginable power. Take heed of this final lesson. Success is not granted. It is earned within. Wealth, influence, accomplishment, they follow inevitably when your mind is mastered. The outer world cannot impose upon one who has mastered their inner world. Every challenge will be met not with fear or frustration, but with strategic clarity. Every opportunity will be seized not in rash impulsiveness, but with deliberate and informed action. And every day, you will awaken a little more to the full measure of your potential, until the life you once imagined becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Now listen carefully, for here lies the ultimate truth that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the passive from the triumphant, the fearful from the unconquerable. Every man and woman who achieves greatness does so by first conquering themselves. Nothing in the world can elevate the man who is a slave to his emotions. Nothing in the world can lift the soul that reacts without reflection, that surrenders to impulse, that allows the tides of circumstance to dictate the course of its life. But everything in the world bows to the individual who commands their mind, who disciplines their heart, who masters the inner kingdom before confronting the outer one. You must understand the universal law of cause and effect in the realm of the mind. If you allow anger to rule your judgments, you will reap misunderstanding, conflict, and failure. If you allow impatience to dictate your actions, you will harvest mistakes, regret, and lost opportunities. But if you cultivate calmness, clarity, and detachment, the outcomes of your actions will align with the highest laws of achievement. You will act with precision. You will think with strategy. You will move with purpose. You will become, in every sense, unstoppable. Remember this, detachment is not separation from life, it is mastery of life. It is the capacity to engage fully, yet without surrendering your peace. It is the strength to love, to lead, to create, while remaining sovereign over your emotions. Imagine the great captains of industry, the inventors, the leaders who reshaped the world. None of them allowed the whims of anger, fear, or envy to dictate their decisions. They engaged with life fully, yet with a mind fortified against distraction, disorder, and chaos. You must do the same. You must learn to witness your emotions, analyze them, and then act or choose not to act based on principles, not impulses. And now consider the power of the disciplined mind in the pursuit of wealth, influence, and purpose. The individual who commands their thoughts sees opportunity where others see obstruction. They hear profit where others hear problem. They perceive strategy where others see confusion. Their detachment is not apathy. It is an instrument of clarity, enabling them to identify paths, to calculate risk, and to act decisively with every ounce of mental and emotional energy focused on the prize. The universe responds to this precision of mind. Fortune, opportunity, and success are drawn inexorably to those who wield the law of mental mastery. It is here that the practice of autosuggestion, repeated with intent and conviction, transforms potential into reality. Speak to yourself daily, commanding your subconscious, I am master of my mind. I am calm under pressure. I am disciplined in thought and action. I act with clarity and purpose. Do not speak these words lightly. Repeat them until your subconscious no longer questions, until your mind itself bends to your will. This is the secret held by all who have achieved greatness. Thought precedes reality. You shape your life first in your mind. The world merely reflects what has been forged within. Understand also the principle of response versus reaction. The untrained mind reacts. It is immediate, uncontrolled, and often destructive. The trained mind responds. It is measured, deliberate, and aligned with higher purpose. In every situation, in every encounter, ask yourself, will I react or will I respond? The answer to this single question, applied moment by moment, will determine the trajectory of your life, a life of chaos or a life of control, a life dictated by circumstance or a life ruled by principle. And so, let us turn to the art of persistence through emotional mastery. Nothing worth achieving comes without resistance. Trials will test you, setbacks will challenge you, temptations will assail you, but the mind disciplined, detached, and focused is invincible. Like a captain steering through the fiercest storm, you will navigate obstacles not with panic, but with calm, measured resolve. The storms of life do not destroy the prepared, they refine them. The fires of adversity do not consume the disciplined, they temper them. And those who endure, who maintain clarity, composure, and purpose, emerge not merely victorious, but unstoppable. Now visualize this truth as a living, breathing force within you. You are the architect of your destiny, and your mind is the blueprint. Every thought, every choice, every controlled response lays brick upon brick in the edifice of your life. Neglect it, and the structure collapses under the weight of emotion, distraction, and fear. Master it, and you build a fortress of potential so formidable that the world itself bends to the will of your design. Wealth, influence, achievement, and purpose are not distant prizes. They are inevitable consequences of a mind trained, disciplined, and mastered. Before you, then, lies the path of absolute control, the road to unparalleled effectiveness. Begin each day with deliberate intention. Monitor your emotional reactions. Apply self-discipline with relentless rigor. Engage in the daily practice of calm observation, strategic thinking, and purposeful action. Allow no impulse, no anger, no fear, no external influence to steer your decisions. Your mind is your kingdom. You are its sovereign. Guard it, command it, perfect it. And as you do, watch as the world unfolds before you in alignment with your vision. Finally, hear this as the ultimate charge. Success is not a matter of chance, but of mastery. The individual who conquers the self conquers the world. The mind disciplined and detached is a mind that cannot fail. Every opportunity, every fortune, every achievement awaits the one who has trained their inner world. You are that one. Your life is waiting to be transformed. Your mind, once mastered, will become the most powerful force you have ever known. It is here, in this moment, that you claim it. It is here, in this understanding, that you step into your destiny. Now, rise with this knowledge. Feel it resonate in every fiber of your being. Your emotions are under your command. Your thoughts are your instruments. Your actions are precise, deliberate, and effective. The world will no longer dictate your course. You dictate it. You are unstoppable. You are disciplined. You are the master of your mind and, by extension, the architect of your destiny. Nothing can sway you. Nothing can deter you. You are the embodiment of focused, relentless, disciplined, and emotionally detached power. From this moment forward, act accordingly. Command your thoughts, channel your emotions, execute your plans with precision, persist through adversity, reflect daily, and watch. As surely as the sun rises, as your life transforms into the reflection of the greatness that has always existed within you. This is not a promise, it is a law. a law that has elevated the lives of every individual who ever achieved greatness, and now it is yours to wield.